Oak Park. Dave, what can you tell us?
Yeah, the director of public safety here for Oak Park said his officers had no choice but to use deadly force when they entered this home here in the city and encountered a man charging at them armed with a hatchet. A 911 call to Oak Park dispatch brought officers to the 2300 block of Avon Street near Greenfield and 9 Mile around 6:30 p.m. Monday.
The male subject stated that he was armed with a handgun and also a hatchet and threatened to shoot up the neighborhood.
When police arrived, they say the mother of the person who was making those alleged threats answered the door.
She was immediately brought onto the porch. As the officers immediately entered into the home, they were met by the subject who had actually called and made the threats, and they were faced with the situation of the subject advancing with a hatchet.
The director of public safety says once inside the house and seeing an armed man advancing on them, one of the officers fired, killing him.
He advanced towards the officers, left the officer with no choice but to use lethal force.
Family members of the man who was shot and killed describe him as a stand-up guy in his mid-40s who's battling cancer and could also be emotionally unstable. But after hearing the details about what led up to his death, they tell me this all sounds out of character.
Very tragic. Like I said, sad. You never want a situation to end this way. And like I said, it's just a terrible tragedy.
So what happens next? Well, now the investigation is in the sheriff's office hands, and they just cleared their investigation. They were here for roughly 4 hours. They say, or the director rather says, that that's common protocol whenever there's an officer involved shooting to have an outside agency investigate. As for the officer who pulled the trigger, we don't know much about him, but we do know he's on paid administrative leave pending the outcome of this investigation. Live in Oak Park tonight, Dave Spencer on The Edge.
And Dave, just so we're clear, there's some reports that say the man had both the axe and a gun in his possession at the time he was shot. Can you clarify that, and could this possibly be a case of suicide by cop?
It could possibly be that, and that's exactly what the Oakland County Sheriff's Office is investigating. As was mentioned, he did threaten, allegedly call 911 and threaten that he was going to shoot up the neighborhood, and then just to get police out here, again, as they say, armed with the hatchet, charging at them. As for the gun, I did ask the chief about that. He says too early in the investigation to find a gun on the premises. Again, something that they were still looking into, but it says it's out of his hands now in the Oakland County Sheriff's Office hands.